So I was 49 metabolically when I was actually 39. And now I'm actually 44 but I'm 35 metabolically. People say मेरा weight gain हो रहा है because metabolism weak है. That is a myth.
The last couple of years, we've seen a lot of health issues on the rise. A lot of young sudden heart attacks, a lot of people leaving suddenly.
High chronic stress will lead to bad skin. लोग products use करते हैं, supplements खाते हैं, collagen खाते हैं. People don't realize one of the biggest reasons of healthy skin is actually fitness.
Ozempic, Mounjaro. With your understanding, are these like shortcuts?
If you stop them, your weight just comes back because it is just a suppressant of your hunger, nothing else.
Some people say, what's the problem?
It's my body.
I can eat what I want.
No,
and some people say the opposite. I don't want to eat. My body needs this particular thing.
If you take that habit away, and for so many days, automatically you don't derive that same, that same urge from that same activity.
अगर आप healthy नहीं हो, तो आप अपने लिए available नहीं हो, आप family के लिए available नहीं हो, आप friends के लिए available नहीं हो.
Welcome to this edition of our ThinkRight Podcast. And we have someone with us who earlier shaped how India eats and now is shaping how India lives. Gaurav Gupta, the CEO and founder of Gabit. Welcome, Gaurav. In your past avatar, you've been the co-founder of Zomato, and therefore I brought that reference out. Young global leader, someone who has really done so much with his own life. I think his own metabolic age has come down by 14 years in the last 2 years. So a lot to hear, a lot to learn. Welcome to this podcast. And of course, we have with us our radiant, positive energy giver, as always, Sister Shivani.
Thank you, Rajan, for having me here.
Thank you, and thank you for being here. And I think what you have done with your life is a great example of, how people can make a shift, at a particular time. But before we go to the shift, Zomato has become such a success, and being part of, being the co-founder and really building the company. Tell us a little bit about the journey, how it started, and what got you to where you are today.
Sure. So this happened around 2015. I met Dipinder, who started Zomato in 2008 by chance. It was never the plan. I was doing consulting before that, and I met him, and I loved the mission he was building, and more importantly, the energy that he had. And I just decided to build Zomato with him, and joined Zomato for no role. Literally do anything and everything that it takes to build that. And from there on, built anything and everything at Zomato. So online food ordering, table reservations. We also have a business where we supply high quality raw materials like food and vegetables to restaurants so that they can actually cook better food. Hyperpure. So started that. Zomato also did all of that. And during that journey, I realized what it means to build something like your own. I was feeling so good about it, and it always felt like my own. And in the process became a founder, which is unconventional. But even that part was very insightful for us because one, of course, it was great for me, but more importantly, the entire organization got energized. They were like, ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि कोई आया एक कंपनी में and then founder बन गया. And I think that people started asking कि मैं कैसे बन सकता हूँ. So that was, I think, even much better than one person becoming founder. This inspired the entire organization कि हमें भी कुछ ऐसा करना चाहिए कि हम भी founder बन सकें. And people ask us कि क्या कर सकते हैं ऐसा. And we tell them one thing. Build whatever you're building like your own. जो भी बना रहे हो अपना समझ के बनाओ, इससे अच्छा काम आप नहीं कर पाओगे कभी भी. So I think that was a great time and learned a lot of things, how customer should be the focal point. अगर आप कस्टमर के लिए कुछ बना रहे हो तो अच्छा बनेगा ही बनेगा, अपने लिए मत बनाओ या किसी एक दो लोगों के लिए मत बनाओ. I think that was very important. And how you have to be driven to a mission. So the mission here was to actually provide food for everyone, good food for everyone. I think that was the mission. And then, we did the IPO in 2021. That was in COVID. COVID was also tough. When COVID started, then business came down to zero, almost zero. And then we realized कि अब क्या करें? Like, what do you do from here? But we just kept working at it. And I think a lot of people sometimes face these challenges that it's done. Now what do you do? All that you built for the last, let's say, 10, 12 years just gone down to nothing. But then we realized that ऐसे टाइम में it's important to just show up. उसके बारे में चिंता करने से, बहुत ज़्यादा वरी करने से कुछ नहीं होगा और चीज़ें खराब ही होंगी. इससे अच्छा है काम पे लगो, सोचो कैसे ये सॉल्व कर सकते हो, कोशिश पूरी करो, मोस्ट प्रॉब्ली हो ही जाएगा. So I think again, this was just one learning, and we went through these phases multiple times at Zomato to learn all that. So yeah, that's been the journey. And but in COVID, I fell in love with health as a mission. So COVID से पहले travel बहुत करता था मैं. I used to travel a lot. तो कभी working out, sleeping better की rhythm ही नहीं बनी. COVID just forced that rhythm on me. So I started working out regularly. Tennis खेलना शुरू कर दिया regularly because I like to play. I was sleeping much better at home, not on flights. Eating better food again at home or otherwise. And my health dramatically improved. Like it was magical. I lost 15 kgs. Metabolic age came down from 49 to 35. So I was 49 metabolically when I was actually 39. And now I'm actually 44, but I'm 35 metabolically. And I thought this is magical. These 4 pillars, fitness, न्यूट्रिशन, स्लीप और स्ट्रेस. कोई भी आप हेल्थ गोल पकड़ लीजिए, इनको अगर आपने पिलर्स को ठीक कर लिया तो वो हेल्थ गोल भी ठीक हो जाएगा आपका. एंड आई सेड आई शुड यूज माई कैपेबिलिटीज टू डू समथिंग मोर इम्पैक्टफुल, बिगर एंड हेल्थ. आई जस्ट वांटेड लाइक देयर इज नो बेटर गिफ्ट देन गिफ्ट ऑफ हेल्थ. तो मैं कहा कि इफ आई कैन डू दिस फॉर मिलियंस ऑफ पीपल, आई वांट टू डू दिस. सो देन आफ्टर द IPO, I left Zomato and started building Gabit. So that's been pretty much the journey.
So this shift was an external shift to an internal alignment around something more meaningful, or was it, or that's a realization maybe later and things like that?
So at that time, to be honest, it was just about I realized that if someone can improve their health so much, then it's very, very impactful. And if I can put my capabilities to do that, there is nothing better I can do. It just felt like that. Having said that, I think we've always been driven by very purpose. So even at Zomato, we run Feeding India, which is India's largest food NGO. It started with volunteers जाते थे restaurants में, जो खाना बना होता था but serve नहीं होता था, consume नहीं हुआ होता था, वो volunteers खाना लेते थे और जिनको ज़रूरत थी उसको देते थे. सब volunteers के थ्रू चलता था on an app. And then we of course put it on the app and we did all of that. Even Hyperpure was an attempt to actually improve the food quality at restaurants. But then when I thought about health and what it did to me, I realized health should be accessible for everyone. अगर आप healthy नहीं हो, तो आप अपने लिए available नहीं हो, आप family के लिए available नहीं हो, आप friends के लिए available नहीं हो, आप किसी और के लिए available नहीं हो. तो अगर वो नहीं ठीक करेंगे, तो बाकी तो कुछ everything is secondary, third and fourth. And that was just very, very important awakening for me. I said, I have to do something here.
और nutrition की तो समझ थी आपको by then.
Yes. So I had built that. I understood that. But more importantly, I invested. After leaving Zomato, I didn't start Gabit immediately. So my wife is also super passionate about health. Much more
she's
than I
your
am.
co-founder.
She's my co-founder.
Gabit, yeah.
So we got together, and I think there's no better time or trust you can find a co-founder than your partner. So I think that was great. We both feel passionate about this. And we spent good 10, 12 months just thinking what is the right way to build this. Because health में बहुत companies थी, बहुत startups थी, बहुत offerings थी, but consumer को actually चाहिए क्या और सही से कैसे बनाना चाहिए, वो हमें फिर भी सीखना था. Because सिर्फ अपनी journey से I couldn't have made it. So we met a lot of doctors, scientists, founders, India, global, US, everywhere. And then we found the right way to build Gabit, and then we started building.
So when this shift happens, when you you achieve a deeper purpose, you achieve some professional achievement, you take time, you work on something that you're passionate about. What makes this shift happen?
It's human nature actually, that if you benefit from something, he's made it into his work, but even if you benefit, like you did it, you benefit from something, you did yoga, you benefited, you shared it with so many people, that's a human nature. And otherwise also people will see the change in you and they will ask you, okay, what have you done? How is it that you're feeling fitter? So it is a human nature hoti hai, कि whatever we benefit, we want to share with everybody. But then once you benefit and you've seen it and you realize you have the potential to take it to everybody, There's no bigger intent than that, because it's coming not from intelligence, but it's coming from experience. One is like, what should my business be? It's intelligence. What's the need of the market? But more important is, I've already benefited. So the business model is already successful. Now I just have to take it to people. So there cannot be any bigger driving force than experience of the individual who's going to start it and give it to the world. And that's why he's able to give it with his own thing. That is important.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a big difference in the way you approach anything new, and then the people you will get with you. So do you really take that intent, and when you hire people, do you look at all of these aspects when they are joining your company?
So one of the most important aspects that I look for, and that hasn't changed for me since I started building for the last 10 years, जो हमने पहले बात की, I actually ask myself when I'm talking to them or when they're talking to me, I try to answer the question, if they come onto this mission, will they build it like their own? If the answer is yes, then yes. If it's not, then not. Because life's work तभी होता है जब आप अपना समझ के बनाते हो. कोई डिसीजन लेना हो, आपको कुछ स्पेंड करना हो, किसी कस्टमर को कोई इशू आएगा, अगर आप समझो कि ये मेरा है, तो आप बहुत अलग तरह से उसको अप्रोच करते हो, वर्ष आप सोचो कि ये तो उसका है, मैं तो उनके लिए कर रहा हूँ. So that is the only question I try to answer. It's difficult to answer that question in a couple of meetings, in interactions. But I think I keep asking that question time and again, even when they're actually building the mission. And I keep coaching them that this is what you did. अगर आप इसको अपना समझते तो ऐसे करते. And you'll be surprised how simple it is for people to understand. People ask me, what should I have done in this situation? I ask them, if this was yours, what would you have done? And the answer is very clear. You don't have to teach them. You just have to keep reminding this question. बार-बार इसको पूछते रहो. And people take time to learn. Some people come on the other side of the curve and learn this and understand this. Some don't. And who don't, then they're not able to put their lives work. So I think this is the most important. And the other interesting thing I've seen is because health बना रहे हैं, I am getting healthier, my wife's getting healthier, my daughter's getting healthier, my family's getting healthier, my parents are getting healthier, team's getting healthier, the world's getting healthier. The impact is massive. Young engineers, techies, उनकी अगर आप आदतें सुनेंगे तो आप बोलेंगे ये क्या है? But because of वो Gabit बना रहे हैं, I have seen their daily orders that they order at office change from chips to fruits. Just because they're listening and hearing about health so much, it impacts you. So I think whether somebody is fit or not or can become fit or not is not the main thing here. But I think whether somebody is ready to actually build it like their own is the main thing here. And इतना सुनने और करने के बाद इंसान चेंज होता ही है, उस पर इफेक्ट आता ही है. And then people choose what they want to do, what they don't want to do.
Did you have to unlearn something to make the shift? Something that you had, many of us learn so many things along the way, and then we say, "Nahi, and I have to unlearn this." ऐसा कुछ था आपके?
So a lot of things, to be honest, and I think that's a continuous process हम सबके साथ, either consciously or subconsciously, and then only we are able to move forward. Because मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि context सबसे important चीज़ होती है. आप कोई भी problem लीजिए, I can't use a solution I used in Zomato to solve that problem with Gabit right now, because the context is very different. People involved are very different. The downstream effects of that is very different. तो आप first principle use करते हैं, लेकिन आप solution सारे नहीं ही ढूंढते हैं mostly. I think that is very important. I think people miss that. People always say, ये मैं ऐसे किया था, ये उसने ऐसे किया था, उसका context ही बिल्कुल अलग था. आपको ये पता ही नहीं है कि इसका यहाँ पे क्या repercussion होगा. आप first principle आपको use करने चाहिए कि वो कैसे कर सकते हैं. So I think that is one. Second, of course, I had to. I'm a very different person now. My food choices now in Pele were very different. Even though I knew what is good for me or not good for me, I used to ignore that at times. And I used to think at that time कि मैं ये छोड़ दूंगा और मुझे अगर अच्छा खाना खाना पड़ेगा तो मेरी खुशी कम हो जाएगी. My happiness will go down.
Goes up.
But I am much better today. I feel more energetic and I enjoy that food. And I found my food that I enjoy, which is healthy for me. So I found it for me myself. Sleep was another area. So most founders, most people who run their own companies, I don't know about you, but वो सोचते हैं कि सोते नहीं है, like कम सोना चाहिए और सुपर हीरो जो ज़्यादा काम करते हैं कम सो के वो सुपर हीरोज हैं. ऐसा नहीं होता. I think I've realized the fact that I sleep 7.5, 8 hours now, I'm much better as a founder in building this company. So this was a completely new thing for me. Zomato days were very different for me. So there are many things like that that I've had to change about myself. Even success, honestly. So today, when I see this product on anybody's, like the smart ring or any Gabit product on anybody's hand, or they're using it, success is not doesn't mean I'm happy because they're using it, which was the case when I was doing it earlier. Success for me now is that I feel happy that their health is getting better, their family's health is getting better, and there's so much positive karma that we and our team is actually doing because of that. And of course, we're building a business on the back of it. So thankfully now, after doing what I've done, thoda financially independent hai. So we're not building or solving for money, let's say, while we're building Gabit. I want to build something really impactful which can change lives of millions of people and let them stay healthy, live healthy when they're 70, 80, 90. And not just like live longer, which traditional medicine have done. So I think the definition of success has also changed and will keep evolving. It might mean something else tomorrow.
Right.
So I think, a lot of
all
things.
of these unlearning. Success is always a complicated word, right? Because successful log bolte hain ki you can become more successful. Someone who's not successful doesn't understand success. How do young people, how should they think of this word success?
The Hindi word is easier to understand. So Hindi mein we say safalta. And safalta comes from the word safal. Safal means worthwhile. So if my day was spent well today, I will say mera aaj ka din safal hua. Means it was spent in a worthwhile manner. Somebody spent their life in a worthwhile manner. So they will say inka jeevan safal hua. So worthwhile means when you have done something for other people. Today's world, we've taken the definition of success in who has achieved more is successful. But actually, it actually means who has been contributing to making other people's life or anything in whichever area you are. You have made your life. So, safalta ka haath aise hota hai aur achievement ka haath aise hota hai. So, again, being a giver is actually success, which is not probably taught in school. Hame abhi yahi sikhaya ja raha hai, what you get, you're successful. It's what you give, you're successful. So now he's saying that he's changed the dynamics from not just figures, but seeing that the intent with which it is started, it is benefiting people. So that is the definition of success. So
no, and this brings a change.
Complete change. Complete change.
We are seeing this in society, right? Now these 6 a.m. runs to get people together, the young people, rather than partying late night. These changes are happening. And these shifts will continue to happen. What are some of the trends that you see? Where are the shifts and what should the shifts be that should happen, especially when we're talking of people collectively?
Shifts should happen, and I think a lot of times we complicate most of the things for some reason. I think it's also because there's too much information happening. But if you look at, and I'm more talking about health right now, the fundamentals are very clear. Movement, which I call fitness, sleep, stress, which is mindfulness, and nutrition. These are the 4 fundamental things people need to solve for themselves. Everybody might have a different solution, but they should find the right solution to do the right thing by these 4 pillars, in my view. And this is what should trend, like the right thing should trend. And there you're seeing that people are finding this more as community. Like when people want to get together as a community, they're finding more joy in when they run together. Let's say when they actually do something together. There's a lot of discussion happening around. I see a lot of family members sharing their data with each other of the ring. कि तुम ठीक से सो रहे हो कि नहीं सो रहे हो? तुम ठीक से वर्कआउट कर रहे हो कि नहीं कर रहे हो? आप आज इतने स्टेप चले कि नहीं चले? So I think it is becoming a new language for people to get closer, and I don't think there's a better language, because guess what, this is the language of better health, which means हम एक दूसरे को की health अच्छी कर रहे हैं, मतलब हम एक दूसरे के साथ ज़्यादा रह पाएंगे साथ में और healthy रह पाएंगे. So I think it is that, and you're right. If I see in my daughter, if I see in her peers, if I see in the younger generation, of course there is much better awareness, and they're making like the food choices they think about today. I got to know them about 4 years back, and I'm really surprised. And I think that's where some of these technological tools are also helping. So when you go to a tool like ChatGPT or anything like that, and you say, what is a good food for me, and you do some research, you actually find something meaningful for yourself. So I think that's also helping. You're not just relying on textbook, या फिर आप स्कूल के टीचर्स पे रिलाई नहीं कर रहे हैं, आप खुद अपनी लर्निंग कर रहे हैं जैसे आपको करनी है. So I think that is helping a lot, and that's happening a lot as well, which I think it's good. I think we're using it for the right
and actually people getting, everything we see with the, especially with technology and, people take it overboard, right?
Yes.
Like, hey, I didn't sleep yesterday, because you're getting data, right? And then sometimes you're getting stressed about the fact that you didn't sleep, whereas you've slept pretty well.
Defeats the purpose.
So what I'm saying, this requires clarity in the minds of people, right? Like what you said, you have to make it simple. We have to do that. And sometimes, a lot of our mind-body health connection is a simple connection, right? We have somewhere lost it, with all of this, how do we bring all of that back? Is it coming back? How can we use technology to really make sure that we get that thing back in the right quantum?
In the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of health issues on the rise. A lot of young sudden heart attacks, a lot of people leaving suddenly, depression on the rise, cancer is very big on the rise. So these last 3-4 years post-COVID has actually shaken up people to start thinking right in that direction, because now we've realized it can happen to anyone, anytime. So if you see cancer also, something like breast cancer has gone into young girls like 14, 15. It's something which was not that. So obviously that it's a wake-up call, that if not now, then it's already late, but if not now, then what? So suddenly that awareness which has got created, and because of technology we're so connected that you're able to spread it out to everybody else. So that's another very good method. But when we do it collectively, it keeps that momentum going. Like at the center we say we meditate collectively. So then nobody will miss it, because everyone's coming together to do it. So collective energy, having your WhatsApp groups where you're sharing this with each other, it doesn't allow a person to lose that momentum. Oh, I didn't do it, so chalo. That peer group working towards health. Earlier the peer group was probably taking me towards junk food. Now the peer group is taking me towards health. So collective energy is always very useful. But it's good. This is the right time. Otherwise it's really going on another direction. What has happened in the last few years has not been easy for people.
No, and I think therefore, and people are continuing to ask questions, right? Because there are quick fixes, and do these quick fixes really work? Or should it be something sustained? Like right now, like we were talking of weight loss and, Ozempic, Mounjaro, these are things at least people are getting exposed to. So with your understanding, are these like shortcuts? How should people be thinking about this? Because one of the things we also want to use this podcast for is to educate audiences with different points of view, right? So, how would you think of something like, these kinds of things? Are they part of the same wellness journey, or do they compensate? How should people be thinking about things like this?
The GLP-1s and these drugs are medical tools.
Right.
They're not for casual biohacking. Let's be very clear.
Right.
For somebody who's suffering from chronic disease like obesity or diabetes, which is actually resulting in a lot of health problems, it can be used as a medical tool for them because it helps them get better. But long-term use of this, of course, is very, very questionable as well, because we don't know the side effects of all of this. So when people start using this to lose a few kgs, I actually get worried that we're not thinking right. We have to figure out कि purpose क्या है. Everything has a purpose. Again, context. For somebody who's obese, जो बहुत कुछ try कर चुके हैं, उनका weight कम नहीं हो रहा है, उनका diabetes है या like they are at a risk of heart disease, for them it is actually a good thing. They should start on the journey and get it in control. But then they also have to supplement it with better fitness, better khana, better sleep and mindfulness. Because eventually वही चीज़ें आपको long term में help करेंगी. So I think that is very, very important. And the other thing I would add here is, again, things become complicated when we actually go with आज क्या trend में है, which diet, which fad. Like अगर आपको running शुरू करना है तो just because आपने कल देखा, आप कल से भागना शुरू कर लोगे उससे कुछ होगा नहीं आपको. Any habit that you can follow for life is what you should try to pick up. Because उससे आपको impact आएगा, उससे आपकी life change होगी. But अगर कोई ऐसी आदत है जो आप आज उठाओगे और 2 हफ्ते बाद छोड़ दोगे, आपका उससे स्ट्रेस बढ़ेगा, उससे डिप्रेशन बढ़ेगा, एंग्जाइटी बढ़ेगी, अपने पे कॉन्फिडेंस कम होगा और उससे और रिपरकशन होंगे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इवन विद GLP-1s, if you stop them, your weight just comes back because it is just a suppressant of your hunger, nothing else. So then you still will eat, you will do all the wrong things that you're doing and उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. So I think very contextual. It has to be used for the right purpose, and when people start using it for other purposes, which is not even required, then they also jeopardize the people who need it. उनके लिए कम हो जाता है. Like we had a massive shortage of Ozempic last year because a lot of celebrities, a lot of people were using it just for biohacking, and the people who needed it didn't have it. So I think, very important to see what are we using it for.
Inculcating right habits is such an important one. And the best habit or the most clear thing is thinking right. And that's what we are here on the ThinkRight platform. And we keep discussing this, right? Like, how do we, even that is a habit, because today our thoughts are so governed by what is happening around us. Whereas, the affirmation or, if you can keep yourself positive and keep the right thoughts, the world around you will change. I mean, just a simple shift like that can change. I would we talked of your metabolic age, your emotional age.
Yeah.
It can keep you, if you think of something like that as an emotional age, which is going to get reduced, it brings back positivity, brings back innocence. I just want to think this a little clearly with you. What would emotional age be?
As we grow physically, you look at a child. Just see a child, even if you're walking in a mall or a market, everybody gets attracted towards a child because the child is egoless. The child has acceptance. The child is radiating that love. So you don't know the child, but you'll automatically get pulled towards the child. Now what happens as we are growing? I'm so and so, I'm so and so, I'm so and so. These layers and layers and layers of who am I, which we have from everything that we achieve, and that actual I. So what we normally say is there is a diamond, that is that I, the being, but then we got a body, but then after that there were so many wrapping papers over that and ribbons and labels. So as we achieve, our ego starts building up. So our innate purity, it starts dipping. So emotional age would be to go back to being childlike. Not in behavior that you're behaving like a child, but going back to the childlike purity. That egoless stage is emotional age. We have to, that aim is for us, that is the aim, to go back to being egoless. So egoless means just knowing who am I, not who am I depending on what I have achieved and acquired. That is my achievements in this. But who am I, that pure divine being? So purity will be when you reach a stage where you are pure in your consciousness, in your every thought, that's when you've reached perfect emotional health, spiritual health. But that's going to give emotional fitness. So I think purity and innocence
actually define that. But on one side we talk emotional, and then we also have metabolic age, which everybody understands, And so here I think we got, in the metabolic age, what happens, right? Why is that such an important metric?
So just to add to what Shivani said, I think one of the dimensions of that is just objectivity. Like, kids are innocent, they're objective. They don't have too much judgment or baggage. And a lot of times when people are saying something, if they have a judgment of that person, they will always see it through that lens. And there's so many misunderstandings that happen. So I think in that sense, kids are so much more mature than even adults at times, right? But they don't have any of this, and they see for what it is. Coming back to metabolic age, I think let's define it first so that everybody understands. It's the comparison of your basal metabolic rate compared to other people in the same age group. Are you doing better or worse? And basal metabolic rate is nothing but when your body is at rest, how many calories does it need to do basic functioning, which is very important. So if your basal metabolic rate is actually less than, so I think it just works like that. And the metabolic age, which is less than your chronological age, means that you're actually working much better in terms of your calorie consumption when your body is at rest. And that comes from multiple things. So one, for example, आपका muscle mass कितना है body में, आपका fat percentage कितना है body में, and essentially how active you are. So it's a much more holistic measure of your body, the fitness, and the right composition. Versus, let's say, just weight, where weight can essentially, and we all get very caught up कि weight कम करना है. But actually, अगर आप in a body आपका muscle mass, when you age, muscle mass कम होता है age के साथ. Which means आप जब age करेंगे तो even at rest आपको calories कम चाहिए होंगी. But अगर आप उतना ही खाना खाते रहेंगे और आप calories कम बर्न कर रहे हैं रेस्ट पे भी, तो आपका वेट बढ़ेगा. So I think it's very important to maintain or increase your muscle mass as you age, so that आपका calorie consumption ठीक रहे and आप जितना food intake ले रहे हो उससे आपका weight नहीं बढ़े या body is in a good state. So I think that's why it becomes super important to understand this, because when you add muscle mass, actually your weight goes up, everything keeping constant. So that is not a bad increase in weight. But if you add more fat to your body, that's a bad increase in weight. So again, it's very contextual. So rather than focusing on weight loss, people should focus on reducing fat percentage, adding muscle mass, which essentially will lead to a better basal metabolic rate and a better metabolic age. So that is how this works.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way. So I think when people look at their metabolic age, and assuming we were to socialize that concept, right? And you have your physical age, and then we are talking of an emotional age. And we put what is the right way to be, right? Because maybe it's not bad to age, but you age gracefully, right? Because life has we keep saying a circle, and it keeps going around. So can you help? I mean, I know you're an engineer, I am, we're all engineers, you're an IIT, I am, and we're all engineers. Can we think of what is the best way to look at a metric of age? Because even age is ultimately created by human beings.
Yes,
think about it, because someone created years, someone created time, someone created, everything, right? So we all get caught up. I am so much, I'm 7, and we compare each other the same way. But I think the world needs maybe an innovation there, a new metric, right? To be able to define how healthy you are, not healthy from, just a body, because assuming we believe that, the source of everything physical is non-physical, it's a combination of all of that. What does being a right productive member of society, healthy, mean today? Could be. I don't know, some thinking around that.
From spiritually we understand I'm a soul using this body. So the body is just my instrument. So like you will say, how old is this cup? So that's not my age. It's how old the cup is. That's how we live with our body. We don't say, I am 40, I am 50, I am 60. Nothing. I am eternal. The age of the body. That itself makes so much of a difference. It's a very different thing, because we are so attached that I am this body, and so that every year people have a problem on their birthday. Oh, now I've got older. Now that is changing the way they're going to think about the body. So that itself starts having an impact on the body. So we say, no, just the body is 1 year more, 1 year more. But how you perceive it is going to change how you think, and that's how it's going to impact the body. So spiritually, ageless, timeless, eternal, will not die, using a costume, keeping it healthy, and when we have to leave it with dignity. So no baggage here for all that.
This is perfection. Now it comes to Gabit, and you're reaching out to the world through a digital device. How would they measure it?
So in fact, really how we think about this, and I think Gabit is relatively new. We just started with customers last year. We've been building for the last 3 years. We actually don't believe we're just about biometrics.
Right.
Or tracking health markers, which we do through our products. We've realized that true wellness comes from a body which feels good, healthy, a mind which is clear, and a soul which has purpose. If you combine all these three, that I think is what true wellness is. And that is what we want to drive more and more with people, through our customers, and that's what we want to do. Gabit itself comes from good habit. We have coined this one word from good habit, because we believe that's how you should live your life, and that's what you should add to yourself. And it's surprising how we sometimes underestimate what a soul with a purpose can do for overall well-being. And I think it's a new dimension for all of us. We're learning. We're learning from Sister Shivani almost every day. We're learning so much about this, but there are actually studies done. So there was a study done by one of the Harvard schools where they did a 7-year study with 50,000 people. And they said, the study finally said that people who had a purpose had 30% less risk of stroke. They had lesser risk of other illnesses that they could get, and they were more progressive towards preventive good habits. WHO has formally added spiritual well-being as one of the health pillars to physical, emotional, and social well-being. So I think all these three together for anyone can mean wellness. So you have to move, you have to eat well, you have to be mindful, and you have to do everything that you do with a purpose. I think as much as you can do that, and if you can do it today better than yesterday, you're progressing. Yeah. It doesn't matter whether you're able to achieve a particular level or not, it doesn't even matter. I think people just get very caught up by, जब वो डेटा भी देखते हैं कई बार, अच्छा मेरा तो अभी इतना है, and I tell them that's fine. आपको ये चिंता करनी चाहिए कि आज आपका इतना है, तो कल इससे बेटर हुआ कि नहीं हुआ, परसों उससे बेटर हुआ कि नहीं हुआ. Just keep chipping off and focus on the trend more rather than worrying about कि आज क्या है. At least आपको पता तो चला. Because if you don't measure something, how can you improve it? If I don't know how bad my sleep is, how can I improve it? But I can't stress about my sleep today. Again, जो हमने पहले बात की थी, even when you're building, you can't stress about the current state. You should focus on solving the current state. उससे अपने आप एनर्जी आती है, उससे प्रोग्रेस आता है, उससे आपको और कॉन्फिडेंस आता है, और करते रहते हैं. I think that's a virtuous cycle people should focus on. You'll be much happier, in my view.
और आज तो ये काफ़ी कंपटीशन भी होता है, बिकॉज सोशल मीडिया है. आई एम लाइक दिस, यू आर लाइक दैट. तो वी आर कंपेयरिंग not only small things with against yourself, but आपके जो peer group है, and this adds. Now you're a digital tech, we're all in digital tech. How much of digital do you use? आपका क्या disconnection होता है with digital?
So on the point that you mentioned, people compare with each other. मैं हम किसी को यही बोलता हूँ कि आपको एक बहुत ही छोटा facet दिख रहा है उसकी लाइफ का.
Yeah, very true.
आपको उसका 99.9% फैसिल का लाइफ का पता नहीं, तो आप कैसे कंपेयर कर सकते हो?
अच्छा, ऑथेंटिसिटी भी नहीं समझ आती,
नहीं आती है. एंड योर लाइफ, योर कॉन्टेक्स्ट, योर फैमिली, योर वर्क इज वेरी यू. सो हाउ कैन इट बी दैट पर्सन? सो आई थिंक वी जस्ट मिस दैट अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स. एंड I think, and this is all learnings over a period of time. Like the way I used to think that 10 years back, now what I think is very different. And I think we just have to be open to understanding these basic principles. In terms of course, like tech is part of our life. I actually say this to everyone. If you're not learning tech today, then you'll become irrelevant tomorrow. So everybody should learn some form of tech, whatever feels comfortable. In terms of disconnecting, so few Gabits, good habits that I've picked up, which I really love now. So I go to sleep around 9:30, so no device after 8:30 or so. I try to do that. And yoga nidra every morning, love it. I started doing it some time back and I just love it. It's so impactful. I check emails only twice a day, so I don't check emails throughout the day. I just check emails twice a day. So and again, Sunday I just make sure that I spend some quality time with family and myself. Both, because I think both are important. This is like earlier we used to think कि सबके लिए time है, सबके लिए time निकालो, सब हो गया. But I think you need time for yourself, and quality is important there. कुछ सालों पहले तो मुझे लगता था कि time बिता लिया तो बहुत अच्छा है. But I think what was the quality of that time? Like how deeply were you actually there when you were there? So I think these are some of the things that I've started doing. Lots more to do, I know. But yeah, it's helping.
Yeah. Digital detox, other habits?
Like disconnecting at least an hour before you go to sleep. Not connecting first thing in the morning. Don't connect to the digital app unless you're using it for your meditation music. Because then your time for yourself is gone. The time for tapping into the intuition, it's all gone. Even if some people just see it for 5 minutes. I'll see it for 5 minutes, then I'll sit for meditation. It's gone. Because you've already cluttered your mind with everything about the world. You won't be able to tap into your thing. So you have to make it like a that self-restraint. Yeah. And after that, it'll become a habit. So it's simple. And of course, how much we're consuming during the day and what we are consuming is very important. People keep saying, I watch only for half an hour, 1 hour. But in that half an hour, what have you consumed? So quality of content is very important. I feel should just disconnect from all the applications which are addictive. And you just see your life for 15 days, you won't go back to it. Just why make the effort of it's there, but I should not watch it. It's like keeping chips in front of you, but I should not eat it. Remove the packet. It's simple. Don't put that so much effort on yourself. So you can just uninstall all these apps which you feel they're consuming a lot of time and energy. See it for 15 days and you won't go back to it.
And I think neuroscience and all is saying that, right?
Because you won't go back to it.
If you take that habit away, right, for so many days, automatically you don't derive that same, that same urge from that same activity, because it gives you that high, temporary high, and then फिर बार-बार वही चीज चाहते हैं.
It normalizes. Your body normalizes. आप कुछ भी body के साथ करिए. अगर आप अपनी health भी improve करना चाह रहे हैं, anything that you do for a period of time, after that your body adapts. It will not lead to any change. So if you want to make some meaningful change to your mind or body, you have to do something drastic or change something. And on the note that he said, like apps, कई बार ऐसा होता है वो आप app uninstall कर देना चाहिए. कई बार context में होता है कि आप नहीं कर सकते. तो one hack that I tried, there was an app which I'm using, which I need on my phone. I can't do away with it, but I think it was distracting me. मैंने अपने home screen से हटा के उसको second screen पे ले गया. Uses of the app just went down to whenever I need it, because not reminding me whenever I open the page. So I think we can find things like that.
Everybody has a way of working out उनके लिए क्या चल रहा है, and then actually bringing, because जब हम health की बात कर रहे हैं और we are talking of wellness, it is a daily constant journey जो बोल रहे हैं ना कि anything that takes you away from that, you want to go back. And once you're on that journey, it happens. Of course, we are competing with consumerism in a different way. The pharma, which is saying no problem falling ill. There is always a cure, and then staying healthy, right? And I think the society will keep working with all of these factors, and ultimately, as we said, ना वो जो perfect क्या होता है, whether it's age, state of health, well-being, वो I think create होगा, and I think that's a big opportunity that we see today, because what you were talking earlier, and I think I want to go a little deeper into this subject, that the aspect of, say, consciousness, like you talked of Harvard study on different things. In MIT, I was there earlier this stuff, the whole subject is like, what is the scientific basis of consciousness today, right? You talk of a classical theory, you talk of quantum physics, now trying to showcase that there is something more meaningful from which the rest of the world is created. And there is science and technology that is going into that, which will tell us a lot about our state of being, right? Like what today, when you come from a spiritual practice, as we heard, you're the soul and the body, none of the health, it's all then, it's a body, right? And we know when an identity...
But you take care of the body.
Absolutely.
In fact, I feel you take care better. 100%. Because you're using it as an instrument, you're a trustee. You're not saying I'm allowed to abuse it. Some people say, what's the problem?
It's my body.
I can eat what I want. And some people say the opposite. I don't want to eat. My body needs this particular thing. This is a new thing. My body needs this, so I have to do. It's you're deciding what you're going to put it inside. But that's why the clarity is needed. So I feel we take better care of
because
the body.
There's a lot of clutter.
Yeah.
Today, like protein,
vocabulary also.
My body needs so much. Because we have so much information coming our way. You don't know what to trust, what not to.
Exactly.
And health and wellness and is so personal, right? Because what is right for you may not be right for me because of so many other things, and they might be right for my body, but they might not be right for my emotion, or the other way around, right? And we can. So I think ye jo subject hai, what I want to tell is far more complex than what it is, but at the same time it is very simple. If you can inculcate good habits, lead a good life, and probably have a routine that suits you. And
I think it is all about you. And I think the beautiful part about, let's say, tracking or health is when you start measuring it, it is very personalized because it is my data. Now, I need to see what I want to do with it. I'll give you a small example. People keep eating a lot of supplements because they actually listen to people. And I think some of them are useful, absolutely. But you have to figure out, aapke liye kya acha hai? And how do you do that? You actually listen to your body. You actually be very aware when you're eating something, when you made a change ki kuch farak pada nahi pada, and get a blood test done regularly. You would be surprised as to people don't know this. When we eat, let's say, vitamin D supplement or B12 supplement, everybody's body is different in how much they can absorb that particular that you're eating. And some people actually go to toxic levels of vitamin D once they're starting supplement, but they don't even know. And which is very harmful for your body. So I think whenever you do something, you have to focus on it and keep measuring it to see if there is any benefit and be aware of it. I think that is very, very important in this journey, which I think people miss at times. And we start following what others are doing, which I think doesn't help.
Yeah, I know this conversation around, what to do and what not to do in today's Instagram age, like you see, right from ye exercise karo, to ye supplement khao, to ye karo, it is very confusing.
Right.
How do we build trust in the world of wellness?
Where are you learning it from? So the credibility of your source. If you're just doing like this and you're watching something and going to take it, then that also can be a question mark. And sometimes that thing is fine for that person. Again, it's right for that person. But in a 1-minute reel or even in a half an hour video, that person can't cover everything. And I might just pick up that little bit from there, just learned it online, not met the person actually. Don't have a way to go back to that person to ask in case there is some issue. And I start adapting it to myself, it can create issues at times. And it has happened with people. So you can't just pick up something just because you went through a video and you searched it. It has to be you know the person, you're able to connect to the person. If you have an issue, you're able to talk to the person. That way you're taken care of. Otherwise you start it and you don't know which direction you're heading. So the credibility and the reliability of the source and your personal connect with that source of information is very important.
And then I think both reflection and measurement coming
That
together
of course.
to make sure that you're on the right path.
So it's a cycle. Credible sources and actually science-backed research. There's enough and more science-backed research. I think as humans, we are lazy. हमें सबसे कम एफर्ट में ज़्यादा इम्पैक्ट चाहिए. तो हम कहाँ जाते हैं? इंस्टाग्राम पे देखने जाते हैं, कोई क्या बोल रहा है, वहाँ से कुछ उठा लेते हैं. But there is so much science-backed research on everything around our health that if you just go into that and learn from there, there's so much to learn. And then you follow the cycle. मैं आपको example देता हूँ. At Gabit, we focus on health holistically. So fitness, nutrition, sleep, stress are the 4 pillars that are most important for any health goal जो आपको करना है, ठीक. And this is first principle thinking. Now, everybody has their own way of doing fitness or doing nutrition and doing sleep. But what people don't realize is that they're all interconnected. So, काफ़ी बार हम स्किन की बात करते हैं, हेल्दी स्किन की बात करते हैं, लोग प्रोडक्ट्स यूज़ करते हैं, सप्लीमेंट्स खाते हैं, कोलाजन खाते हैं, कोलाजन इज वेरी पॉपुलर. People don't realize one of the biggest reasons of healthy skin is actually fitness. When you work out regularly, when the body starts and stops regularly, body builds collagen scientifically. You can eat as much collagen as you want, but if you don't work out, you won't absorb that collagen. Like when we are eating till late in the night, people think उस टाइम पे लोग unhealthy fatty food खाते हैं, उनको लगता है ये मुझे अच्छा लगता है इसलिए मैं खा रहा हूँ. There are neurotransmitters in your body because you're not sleeping in time. You're putting your body through discomfort of staying awake till late. Body is saying, please eat stuff which gives you comfort, which is fatty food high on carbs. That's why you pick that up and not something healthy. It is scientific, but people don't realize that. And I think that is why when we started building Gabit, we were very clear that we have to go into this because we have to give this to people. We have to give the right thing to people. So getting a credible source and spending the time and effort is important. I'll give you another example. We treat healthy skin as a very important goal. And when we started looking at it, we realized that fitness, nutrition, sleep and stress all are important. High stress increases cortisol in your body. It impacts your skin barrier. That's the first thing it impacts. So high chronic stress will lead to bad skin, wrinkles, all of that. But then we also realized people need to use better products. We went into science and we took 2 years to build those products. And the only thing we said, again, very simple first principle, we will not put anything bad in it. And you'll be surprised, I don't know if you know this, but in skincare products, people buy through feel. The feel comes from all bad stuff. But we said we will not want to put bad stuff. We want the same feel, otherwise people will not buy it, but we want only the good stuff. So we took 2 years to build those formulations. Like at that time, our superpower became saying no. We sent back 100 formulations with our formulators. And finally, after 2 years, we got a formulation right. And today, people love those products. So they use this product and they actually can see that it actually, like you can imagine a skincare product having a visible impact on people's life, removing scars from their face in 1 month. Just a face wash and a moisturizer, nothing nothing pharmaceutical about it. But where did it come from? Great research, tenacity to say, हमें 3 महीने में नहीं चाहिए, हमें 6 महीने में नहीं चाहिए, जब सही बनेगा तभी करेंगे, and then we actually put that out. So I think what I'm trying to say is, what Shivani said, कि credibility जिनके पास है उनसे सीखो और फिर उसमें थोड़ी मेहनत करो ताकि रिजल्ट आए. Because shortcuts don't lead you anywhere. Like we talked about GLP-1. If they use them as shortcuts, they will not help you in the longer term. You'll come back to the same outcome very soon.
Yeah, no, I think we can keep going on and on, but very clearly, shortcuts don't work. Keeping yourself healthy and well requires, many aspects that we've discussed, and I'm sure, our audiences are going to think and, make the right choices as they navigate their own personal health. And, we get into this last phase of this podcast, which is a mindful minute. So we'll just go a little deeper, to help people understand maybe you better. And I'll just throw a few questions and you can answer. And I know it's not a right question to do because you're so passionate about Gabit and that. But if not Gabit, then what? I mean, Gabit is not what, then what?
It's very difficult to imagine right now, but it would be some high-impact customer problem where I'm using some deep tech to solve it. Something like that, yeah.
Interesting. One habit that, seems silly but actually changed your life.
Eating dinner at 5:30 p.m. I got a lot of flack for that, ridicule for that, but I think it just changed my life.
So you would never eat anything, even in any circumstances?
No.
Yeah.
And no, in some
you're very rigid, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Like, again, context is important. So if I'm out somewhere where I need to, then it's fine. But otherwise, no.
And I think you also...
Yeah.
By
6:30.
6:30. So before sunset. One word to define health.
Gabit. Good habit.
One word to you to define health. What is health?
ThinkRight. Not as an application. ThinkRight here.
I agree.
But yes, of course, the application is
helping. I will add ThinkRight.me.
Yes.
Because I think it has to, and we keep discussing that word is incomplete without that .me. Even Gabit is incomplete without that me. I think if what is good habit, there are generic good habits, there are generic good thoughts. But there are some habits that will work better for you. There's some thoughts that work better for others, some thoughts that work. So I think people understanding that is important.
And I think one of the things that we should understand is that, as I said, we're all a bit lazy. And I think sometimes this think right and do good or change your habit becomes very difficult. Like anybody on a health journey, when we started building, we realized that when we ask people to do a fitness plan which they've never done before, or change their food, they're like, ये तो बहुत बड़ा change है, मैं कैसे करूँ, मुझे तो ये अच्छा नहीं लगता. And that's where we realized that make it simple for people. And honestly, that's where this came into being. Like a smart ring is nothing but, if you want to start on a health journey today, आप ये product खरीदो, and then you put it on your finger, and at least start measuring yourself. And you start seeing what is not good. Like we've integrated all these pillars like sleep, fitness, nutrition, stress, सब कुछ इसमें integrate किया है. Because then you can see for yourself what is working, what is not working. And I think we have to keep making this simpler. And by the way, AI, we talked about technology. AI has a very important role to play here. So people used to ask us, अच्छा ये VO2 max क्या होता है? ये resting heart rate होता क्या है? अच्छा कितना होता है? So we said, ये हम कैसे समझाएंगे लोगों को? So then we used AI to personalize at scale. So we made a AI health coach, which is called PEP. तो आप उससे बात कर सकते हो कि मेरी आज sleep ठीक थी कि नहीं थी, मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ. And again, very simple things. Like people said, खाना change करना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है. I don't know if you know this, most people find it very difficult to just know कि मैं क्या खा रहा हूँ, ये क्या healthy क्या नहीं. People in our circle also don't understand what is healthy or not. And people don't log their food just because it's very difficult. Text type करना है, आपको speech से करना है. So we said, how do we make it simpler? So we are the first ones who actually launched an AI-based, speech-based food logging feature. I log my food by saying, one salad for dinner, logged. It gives you macros, gives you proteins, gives you carbs, gives you everything. So just made it simple, and people have loved that. So I think in this journey that we have talked about health, I think all of us, if we can make it an attempt to make it simpler for people, people get out of this journey much faster as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A metabolism myth that people need to get off.
People say मेरा weight gain हो रहा है because metabolism weak है. That is a myth. Their fitness, their movement, their sleep, their stress, everything needs to be fixed. You can't blame your weight gain only on metabolism. That's a bad excuse.
What matters more today for you as a company, revenue, heart rate, sleep hours?
Sleep hours, for me, for sure.
And for Gabit?
For Gabit, more healthy years to people's life. I think at Gabit, I think medicine has helped people live longer, lifespan बढ़ा है. But at Gabit, we are very focused on health span. So we want people to be healthier, active when they're much older, and age better. We talked about aging, reverse aging. It just means that you're slowing down your biological aging than your chronological aging. Your organs are much better at that age than they were used to do for other people. I think that's what it means. So I think that is very important. So in fact, in our team, whenever we get together for a town hall, the first question we discuss, which I ask is, now how many years of healthy life have we added to people? Calculate karo. And that number keeps on growing. That number doesn't matter whether it's 200 years or 300 years or 500 years. Just the fact that we are doing everything towards that is
globally, I think health span is now becoming more valuable than lifespan.
Yeah.
And I think, how do we really measure quality of life as really the life? And we've been discussing a lot around age and all of that. A Babbitt, you're glad you quit. A Babbitt means bad habit.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm improvising
on
your language.
So sleeping late and sleeping less.
Yeah.
I'm really glad I've quit that.
Yeah. And I think the last one, because we are on a ThinkRight platform, one thought that you'd like to probably permanently delete.
From my mind, this cannot be done. Like just the thought of that should never come in anybody's mind, in my view. And sometimes it can still come when you come across something very difficult. But I've just seen myself in my journey as well. On who I am as a person now, what kind of food do I eat, how do I sleep. The fact that we build this, I'd never built hardware and software together before till 3 years back. We started from scratch, learned, and we built a product which is actually doing better than most of the global products out there, and people are loving them in terms of their accuracy, how well it works. We couldn't have done it if we thought, we can't do this, we've never done this before. There are companies there which are doing this for the last 10, 12 years globally, and people have reviewed our product and said this is actually better in many aspects. And the other thing I would say is, in fact, that's an interesting thought. So we believe health should be accessible for all. It should be right up there like anything else that you need, because that is the starting point. And we're actually trying and fighting to build really good quality products and make them as affordable as we can. So prior to this, all the smart things available were in the range of 30,000-40,000 rupees. How do you expect anyone to try something new for themselves? So we worked really hard to build an equally or a better product, and we do it at 13,000. And people get amazed. But it only happened because we said, that's the only way to make this work. So we worked backwards from there. So I think this thought that this cannot be done, even if it comes in my subconscious, I don't want it to come in my subconscious ever. Because I think it's very powerful.
And I'm sure that price will keep coming down, because accessibility and affordability and inclusivity actually is going to be driven by a lot of these factors. But I'm so tempted to end this podcast by asking the same last question to Sister Shivani. Because one thought that you would like to permanently delete.
I delete it when it comes. Whenever something is not right, that's the practice, no? That is what it is. So the minute, it's not any one specific thought, but any thought, even if I say, why is he doing this, then I have to delete it then and there. Delete means change it, so automatically the wrong one. So not any one specific one, but the second you say it, you have to delete. That's ThinkRight. So ThinkRight doesn't necessarily mean that your every thought is right. But ThinkRight means every time you've created a thought which you know is not right, change it immediately to a ThinkRight.
Very powerful.
That's what it is.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So the wrong becomes the right in whatever
it becomes
is,
a way of living also, it just becomes a way of living and it's an aspect of life where you're looking at. It's a way, because we're so looking at everything outside. Now you get so used to looking at what's going on inside. So you will be able to see your first trace of Whether it's a first trace of worry or a thought or just judgmental thinking about somebody or just, oh, what's going to happen today? Immediately, everything is going to be perfect. So even not a wrong thought, not a negative thought, but an average thought also now needs to get changed to go to a higher vibrational thought. So the more you look, the more you can see. And very soon now you can see it. Like you don't have to consciously see, you can just see it. And so you see it and you change it.
I hope this conversation has triggered some great thoughts in the minds of our audiences. Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you, Sister Shivani, for such a wonderful conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ji.
Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
You too can start or enhance your mindfulness journey using the ThinkRight app on iOS and Android store. It's got a huge number of daily affirmations, daily journeys, daily meditations that will enable us to hold your hand as you move in this transformative journey of life.